Hello, everybody. This is José Ignacio from the Uncomfortable Dialogues 2022. Thank you very much for joining us today. We value your participation and feedback.
In today's dialogue, we have a scientist talking to us. This is Sergio Coronado. Sergio is a senior vice president of Duracell, and his area of expertise is future innovation. So welcome to this dialogue, Sergio. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, José Ignacio.
So how's life? Everything is under control?
Everything is under control. We're surviving, right? We continue to do well in spite of the pandemic.
But are you truly under control? Truly, or you are just...
No, I think we're managing, right? We're surviving. We're keeping the business going. We keep our programs going. We're managing. I think there's a lot of uncertainties on what the future is going to be, right? But for the time being, we believe we are looking different scenarios, things like that, right?
So can you share with us what have you learned or relearned because of the pandemic we are facing today?
I think to me, the change that we had to make of working in offices and having a lot of informal interactions to a virtual world where we don't get to see people frequently the way we used to has made us really rethink the way we work, right? And one of the things that I feel like from my side I had to do is I need to put energy behind scheduling contact with people. We need to schedule it. In the past, it was, we would be walking the hallway. All of a sudden, we would find someone on the way, strike a conversation, maybe deal a couple of issues, maybe brainstorm on some problem, and then move on. That doesn't happen, right? Most of our organization today continues to work on a virtual environment. I made a choice to really try to meet with both my bosses, colleagues, and direct reports, try to schedule meetings with them, even though sometimes I'm not that clear in terms of what the subject may be. But I think it's important to put some time down so we can make that contact happen.
Now, another thing that may be facing in your life or in your workplace is, how do you deal with uncertainty in terms of having the facts at hand?
So, for example, one of the things that I do, as I was telling you, is I have a need to create a connection with them. So right now that when some of us are not in the office, right, some of the things that I do is I go to the office and whoever I can meet, right? I stop by the labs, I look at who's doing the labs, and I try to strike a conversation with them. But it doesn't happen at the same frequency as it did before. But I think by creating that, at least, they notice that I'm paying attention to the work, right, on one hand. On the other, I get to see a little bit more of the work without just being in a virtual conference, right?
Excellent. Now, another personal question for you is, do you think that the COVID or the pandemic has made you a better man, a better leader?
Or no, I don't think so. I think it has pointed out things that we need to be aware of. It has pointed out things that we need to work on. Has it changed me? No, I don't think so. I think to me, I continue to be the same manager as I used to be.
Sergio, in your opinion, what's going to happen after COVID is resolved? It's going to be mission accomplished and life will go back to what it used to be in the past?
I think the world is really is going to be the next decade very, very different to what we are seeing today. One of them is I think we need to be more resilient. I think that we need to get adjusted that the world is changing continuously. That is happening all the time. We have to do that, right? And the other one that I would be, and I think you talked to some of these principles in your book about agility and flexibility, right? The reality is we're going to have to morph, right, to work and get things done in the context of the environment we're in. Right? So we're going to have to do that. That's just a need, right? So if I was, as I think about my grandchildren, my kids and stuff like that, to me, the desire is we need to build in them skills that actually build those two things, right? Agility, flexibility, being resilient, understanding that there's not going to be a fixed world. So they have to morph into whatever happens. I'll tell you one example that to me it's good is that we were developing a new technology during this year, right? And we're working in a remote location with another company, and we couldn't travel. So I was surprised how the team adjusted to this. They did everything. All the teams were working virtually. So what they did is, they were setting up the plant, they were setting up reactors and things like that, and they had actually video cameras, showing different pieces, and both teams working together in very weird schedules, right? I think to me, that's one way to say that these young guys, young engineers that were working this program, they were really resilient. The fact that the pandemic prevented them from traveling didn't stop them. Actually, we were quite surprised because we old people, right? We have a way to work, but these new guys, they really morph very quickly and use technology very smartly to get things done. But I'll tell you, the other piece that to me is eye-opening is the fact that, it's always changing the paradigm, right? One side. But on the other hand is having tools that don't necessarily were connected or you were really leveraging, right? That all of a sudden become critical. And they were there, right? We just hadn't used them to the same level. So to me, the amazing thing is that, all of a sudden this capability to do video conferencing, this, Teams, all these different platforms that we now use became critical. Before they were nice to have. Okay, let's have a video conference. It's fun. And maybe have it with family and friends. But now it became a requirement. So to me, having that flexibility together with some kind of knowledge of what are the technology platforms and how do I morph them into my application was what really made a huge difference. In the case of the educational system, I was really floored of how kids were learning in virtual ways during this year.
Oh, yeah.
I actually experienced it personally in my granddaughter. And I was really amazed what these kids can do. All of a sudden, they were there, and they were doing it and engaging with the professor or the teacher, right, in a remote way that we would never think it would be possible.
Excellent discussion, Sergio. Yes, you're right. The kids do have the capability to morph very quickly and adapt to new capability. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, and with that, we need to close this conversation. So I really appreciate your support in having this dialogue. And for everybody else watching this video, if you have any questions to Sergio, to myself, just drop a note here in LinkedIn and YouTube.